I know that some critics of President Trump have said his approach to national security and foreign policy is isolationist or America alone, but that's far from true. Mr. Trump had a robust foreign policy during his first administration, and you can see how he's preparing a very extensive and active foreign policy in his second administration. And I think we're going to see that in the Asia Pacific. And it's exciting that he's named Richard Grenell to be his special envoy for special missions, especially North Korea. I think it shows Trump's interest in dealing with the threat from North Korea. But I think we're going to see a strong relationship between the U.S. and South Korea and Japan. We're going to see very tough policies towards China. And I think we will see policies that really are designed to improve America's relations with South Korea and lower tensions in the region. I believe that President Trump views his personal diplomacy with Kim Jong-un as a major success of his first term, because those interactions significantly lowered tensions with North Korea. We haven't had a North Korean nuclear test since September of 2018. Long-range missile tests were stopped until 2022. It significantly lowered tensions. It did not solve the nuclear problem in North Korea, but I think it put us on the road to doing so. And I believe that Mr. Trump will want to resume diplomacy like that. I think there will be some conditions he's going to have up front, but this was a serious policy in the first administration. And to critics who say that this was to make headlines or wasn't serious, what I would say to them is that nothing else with Kim Jong-un had worked. What previous presidents had tried with North Korea yielded temporary agreements and really didn't significantly lower tensions. I'm hoping we will have swift progress to resume diplomacy, at least with Grenell, and hopefully with President Trump and Kim Jong-un in 2025. I think there's been understandable criticism, heavy criticism of North Korea over the last few years, because there's been such a surge in its missile program, and there's been advances in its nuclear program, although it hasn't conducted a nuclear test. But whatever these politicians may have said while they were out of office, Donald Trump is the president, and they'll be carrying out his policies. And the priority for Trump's America First approach to U.S. national security is to use tools of statecraft short of war. He's going to look at sanctions before he talks about any type of hawkish strategy of attacking North Korea. I think what's happened in South Korea is very sad. I'm a big fan of President Yoon. I was looking forward to him building a productive relationship with President Trump. I understand he was working on his golf game so he could play golf with President Trump. I guess that's not going to happen now. I'm trying to follow what's happening in South Korea right now. It's hard. It's complicated. I will say that this political turmoil in South Korea is bad for regional security. It's bad for global security. And it will be hard for the Trump administration to work with the South Korean government that frankly is in chaos right now. As I said before, this chaos is not good for South Korea or regional security, global security, or U.S.-South Korean relations, and it plays into the hands of Beijing. China is happy that there's disarray in the South Korean government. We need to have a strong and unified South Korean government, and these political problems in the country, I hope, will resolve very quickly. There's no talk of pulling troops out under the second Trump administration. I think there's going to be some discussions about the SMA and how much South Korea spends for defense and spends for American troops. I think there's going to be some disagreements like there were last time during the first administration. But this is going to be a discussion among friends. I think it will be resolved. And I don't think either nation will lose sight of the real security threats that both of them have to face.